Hello and welcome to Connect the World. I'm Hannah Vaughan-Jones, live for you in London, sitting in for Becky Anderson. Our top story this hour, the long road ahead for Texas as it recovers from Hurricane Harvey and the unprecedented flooding swamping Houston and the surrounding area. Right now, the entire city of Beaumont, that's about 178 kilometers east of Houston, has no running water. Its water pumps will not be repaired until the floodwaters recede, and people started lining up to buy bottled water from very early this morning. Then there's the volatile situation in Crosby, that's northeast of Houston. A fire broke out overnight at a chemical plant there, sending thick black smoke into the air. The fumes from that smoke made more than a dozen sheriff's deputies sick. Houston police rescued 18 people from the floodwaters overnight, and the death toll from the storm overall has now risen to 37 people. CNN's Polo Sandoval joins me now from Richmond in Texas, near Houston, where there's currently a mandatory evacuation underway. Polo, so many people have lost their lives, presumably many more still unaccounted for. Just tell us some of the stories that you've no doubt heard and perhaps even the rescues that you've witnessed.
That certainly is the reality here, is that death toll is likely to rise as we are expecting officials to begin today going door to door in the city of Houston.
Well, the rain may have stopped, but as you say, the water keeps on rising and infrastructure's down as well across the state. Polo, thanks very much indeed. Well, around a third of the city of Houston is now entirely covered in water, and thousands have taken refuge inside the city's convention centre. That's where Scott McLean joins me now. Scott, so many people are having to start to rebuild their lives, rebuild their homes eventually as well. But in the short term, what is the future for these flood victims?
Well, there is some good news, Hannah, and that's that the number of people staying in this particular shelter in the convention center in downtown Houston has gone down.
U.S. President Donald Trump says that when it comes to North Korea, talking is not the answer. If the time for talking is over, can we assume that military force is the only option left?
Well, Hannah, there is still one more tool in that toolbox that they can use to put pressure on North Korea, and that's sanctions.
20 years ago, the world received news of an horrific car crash in Paris, one that resulted in a loss that seemed almost unimaginable. The death of Diana, Princess of Wales, shook the world. It had a profound impact on Britain, her home country in particular, marking an historic shift in the relationship Britons have with the royal family. Well, our Jim Bittman is in Paris, outside the tunnel where Diana, Princess of Wales, was killed, while Clarissa Ward is at Diana's former home, Kensington Palace. Clarissa, to you first. She will, of course, be remembered as the people's princess, but first and foremost as a much missed mother, and now grandmother, of course, to the princes who reside in the palace behind you.
That's right. And of course, Diana lived behind me for many years. And it's incredible to see today, Hannah, hundreds of people, most of whom I should add you can't see, they're on the other side of the palace. But they've been pouring in all day. They're laying flowers. They're paying their respects. They're taking a moment to remember Diana.
Let's bring in our Erin McLaughlin, who's live from Brussels for us now. Erin, loggerheads to say the least, but the UK is certainly putting its foot down as far as this divorce settlement bill goes.
That's right, Hannah. And the chief Brexit negotiator for the EU today also saying that no decisive progress had been made.
Can we say that if ISIS is out of Tal Afar, ISIS is out of Iraq entirely now?
Unfortunately, that's not the case, Hannah. Tal Afar was the last ISIS stronghold in that province of Nineveh, but ISIS still controls swaths of pockets of territory along the Euphrates River.
We're continuing to monitor Harvey, of course, in Texas. We're going to take you live now over to Texas and our domestic colleagues covering this story for you.
Down there, he's going to try to ascertain exactly what the situation is.